Good morning and good afternoon. Duterte cow. Always let's support our President Duterte and do the right thing. Follow our President Duterte, and we love you and we support you always. And very proud of our president. At least I'm very proud of our president in the Philippines. And comparing to other presidents, which I do like. Another one, which is U.S. president, I do like Trump. For me, Trump is really good, and what he's doing also is kind of copying our President Duterte in the Philippines. But the only little dilemma I have at this moment in time is like this. Today is not I'm talking about our country in the Philippines and our president and our people, but all this affects our country also, and it affects most of a lot of people in Asia. So what goes on at this moment in time, what US is doing, UK, France and some other countries is putting themselves together to attack Syria and what they're doing in Syria. I do understand we have, what they say is a chemical and in people and everything. The only problem I have on this kind of part is the same thing. Are we doing a mistake the same as we done, or Bush done to Iraq? So are we doing the same mistake of, bombarding a place which we don't have 100% evidence who is doing it, and over here is just blaming people? It's like blaming people because of what? First is Russia, and then is the president of Syria, and then is some other places, whatever, who they want to put into the pot for them to attack their own country. So, for me, before, Saddam Hussein doesn't have no weapons, mass destruction weapons or whatever. And he was one English person, one person who went to investigate in Iraq if Saddam Hussein has any weapons of mass destruction, which this person said Saddam doesn't have that kind of stuff. He doesn't have no chemicals of that kind of power to do anything or any bombs like that. Specified that what happened to him in his own hotel, he was killed, and then whatever story they made it up, what the man did. So when politicians and some presidents having problem their own countries, like US has big problem, and I already said it many times in there, like last year or 2 years ago, I mentioned US has a big hole in their own economy, and US doesn't have money to support themselves and to sustain themselves and continuously. So what's going on over here now is just blaming people, attacking places without we having evidence for 100%. We just have some, and everything in most of it is going into guessing. So are we, continue doing the same mistake over and over? And then it's easy for some presidents, yes, we're going to war, and yes, we're gonna, you're gonna see missiles coming. Is this the way of these days how we talk to each other if somebody's doing wrong? And if somebody's doing wrong, the only answer is what? To kill and to press a button when you have their own power in your own hands. Is this correct? Is this how we're doing things these days in this world? Sorry, I was interrupted. Is this the way we're becoming to deal with? Is this the way politicians around the world is becoming to, like UN and most of the UK and some other countries? If US farts, UK smells, and it just goes into that wave of smelling and falling the ass of USA, and it has been because we are allies and all kind of stuff. The only thing is this correct what we're doing over here? Is this correct? Just like because someone, and they say in Russia and they say in the Syrian president, they are the ones who use weapons of chemicals in people. How do we know ourselves, if this is correct and this is true? Except, most of these days we have a lot of fake news, and we have the news which is controlled and by presidential people and politics. And those people, they say what their president or their politicians wants them to say and things like that. We have proofs. Even Trump, he had problems with CNN before, and he had problems with fake news, and he was pointing it out and things like that, which are about fake news. So these days, for us to believe, this is right, and what UK is doing, and what US is doing, and France is going also into support that with little evidence. I say little evidence. For them, they have some evidence and whatever. Probably they don't want to share the whole thing, and just when making up like they done for the Iraq war. And now we're doing the same thing. We're doing fire with fire. We're not doing, having a patient to wait for a little bit. We're not having a patient to, instead of start bombing, let's get this right this time. And if they have to go into Syria to find out what's going on, and if the president doesn't comply and he doesn't, come into an agreement, and then we can do something about a different way, but not just straight away missiles is coming and we start bombing the country. And it's not only that. Let's put this in a different way of like this. One person does wrong and the other one's supposed to correct it, right? So the more intelligent people, if they have more intelligence, you should be like, this one done wrong, let's try to put the things right. But it's not like that. It doesn't work this way. In politics, it looks like it doesn't work this way. It's like, they fight with us, they fire at us, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna fire at them. They put chemicals to people and bombs into people and all kind of stuff. And do you know what? Because they kill some people with chemicals, and this is against the UN and regulations, right? So, what is, what US, UK, France and some others are together, and UN are doing? Syria done wrong and accusing Russia of chemicals and killing innocent people and everything. So what are you guys doing? Right? What are you guys doing? Just because they done wrong and they done that, find out, try to solve it. But no, you guys are bombing Syria. So what do you think those missiles is gonna go where? Doesn't it have people and innocent people in Syria? Or do you just thinking you bombarding places where they have military and they have, the chemicals, you think? So they don't have innocent people around there, right? They don't have any women and children around that kind of base or that area. It will not affect. So it means we're not gonna kill innocent people over there, right? Because we're bombing Syria again. So what is the difference we doing? We making what difference? To all of you as a politicians, to all Theresa May, which is you go like this, like that, we going against the UN regulations and the Commonwealth, whatever the regulations. That is fine. They over abuse that, they passed over. But that's not how we do fire with fire, is it? Because if we do fire with fire, they kill some people with the chemicals. Are we doing any better? Are we better than they are? Because also, if you bomb in Syria, you're gonna kill a lot of innocent people. Much more than what Syria or whatever they're accusing who made those chemicals to kill people, to use in people. So, are we gonna do less killing? Are we doing right? This is what I want to know from some intelligence, because I'm not intelligent. I'm just one of those people, anybody like anyone else. I'm not also stupid, because God give me a brain, and God give me everything for me to think, for me to see, for me to know what is right, what is wrong. And as a politician and governments and presidents, which he has allies and powers and all kind of stuff, are we doing right? Are you guys doing right? Is this the right way of doing things? Just because somebody, done something wrong, what we doing about it? All of you as presidents and whatever the heck you guys call yourselves, and the allies and the power you guys have, instead of using it, you know what? Let's try not to go into war here, but let's try to sort it another different way. And I do understand some presidents and some other people, from even the president of Syria, he might not agree with things and all kind of stuff. And then, that will be the last solution, not the first solution. That it was you guys who done that. We start pointing fingers. Yep, we have evidence it was like these people, like this, like that. And then try to go into the news to convince everyone those countries, they are the ones who done the wrong, and we're gonna have to do something about it, and that's it. And we're going into war. It's like the same things what we're trying to do over here, threaten countries again. Similar, we done wrong in Iraq. We killed Gaddafi because they're trying to change money from dollar to gold. We kill, the President Saddam Hussein, which he had much more, control of Iraq than anybody else had. And what we did, we destroyed the whole Iraq. And what is happening to Iraq? Still destroyed, still messed up, still killing people every day. And we're supposed to be making Iraq better, right? Because we had a very bad person over there, which he had a lot of chemicals, weapons in his own country, and he was killing every day people over there in his own country. So what US and some other UN done? We need to take Saddam Hussein when Bush is like that. We need to go into Iraq and blah blah blah, because this and that. And what they did, right? We've been there for years. What happened to Iraq? Is it Iraq better now than it was before? I don't think so, because every day is war in Iraq, every day is people dying and being killed, and every day is still bombs going off. So what the heck did we do better? Did we learn anything from it? No. Did any politicians or any presidents made any changes or done anything better to any country? No. Did ever any president in US done anything better for any other country which they bombarded? Not just US, but also Europe, UK, and whatever the UN is. They made those countries better. In my eyes, in some other people's, I'm sure, is not that way. But who am I and who are, most of us, except to be convinced through governments and medias and TVs, to be convinced to support the governments. Yeah, let's bombard it, let's do this, let's do that. How can we have peace? Do you know what? Yes, that's why World War III is coming up, and it's supposed to be stopped, and as Trump coming in. But by the looks of it, I was thinking Trump is going to stop the World War III. But the looks of it is like he's going into it the same as he's not supposed to. Trying to pick up in North Korea to, do this and that. Trying to pick up China and try to picking on, Russia and most of Asia. I think we better start thinking really well, Mr. Trump. I like you as a president and all kind of stuff, but please try to, instead of putting fingers in the triggers and start firing fire, try to sort it and try to have talks and try to have another different way of approaching instead of bombarding countries without, things. Because you saying they are killing people with gases, but are you doing any better? Because you're killing much more innocent people. Let's say even if it's 100,000 people dead with the chemicals, you're gonna millions with your bombs. So please think about what you guys doing. As my opinion, and I hope you guys listen to it in a sense, because as presidents you should know much more than I do. But who am I? Anyway, for me, my president is Duterte. I love him and he's one of the best, and I hope he keeps our country safe and doesn't follow idiots and stupid people around. We do what is best for our President Duterte, and I hope we look after our own country, the Philippines. Power, do the right thing, peace, and God bless. Thank you. Bye.